Ladies and gentlemen, the Football Scoop Podcast is back. I'm Scott Roussel. Today I'm joined by college football expert Zach Barnett. Zach, great to see you. My good friend John Bryce is on assignment. He's got a tough assignment this weekend. He's in Las Vegas. He's doing things Vegas style. He's there for the Shamrock Series, BYU, Notre Dame, in Allegiant. Should be great fun. Zach might be going, Texas OU, Red River?
Possible. My buddy that's an OU bigwig currently has the flu. So if he can kick the flu, I will join him in the stands at the Cotton Bowl. If not, then I most likely will not be there. So yeah, we're playing by ear.
I got Tennessee coming to town. Baton Rouge should be a lively, albeit 11 a.m. crowd that just doesn't work well with Baton Rouge. I suspect this one gets weird. I think Tennessee's offense is a lot of fun to watch. LSU's defense is pretty good. LSU's offense is trying to find its way. We'll see how that one plays out. I kind of think the Vols sneak out a win, but that's why they play the games. Zach, let's dive into this week. Week 6, there's never a bad week. There's actually some crazy fun games coming up on Saturday. Let's talk Friday night real fast. A couple of games. Nebraska at Rutgers will be a football game, I believe.
Rutgers is wearing black, so I'm gonna pick them just because of that.
I picked Rutgers as well. Houston-Memphis is not the game we all expected it to be, although it could be one to be in a great game. Houston's just been a disappointment.
Yeah, so John and I discussed this on Sunday. After they lost last week to Tulane, there was a great shot ESPN had of Dana, and he's got his whatever they call it, up to sing the alma mater, and just the look on his face, like I would love to have walked up and asked him, like, do you even want to do this anymore? Like, do you want to? If I gave you the option to just tap out, would you? Like, it just seemed like, he was, made headlines for what he said after they beat Rice, and then was basically, I'm tired of coaching these guys, and then they went out and lose to Tulane. So it doesn't seem like they're not playing like with a lot of joy at Houston right now. So if they don't turn that around, Memphis could get ugly.
Dana's not the type of guy to go through life without a bunch of joy. So that probably bears watching. At some point you've been in place for a few years, and if you're not finding joy in it, do you say, hey, maybe there's a different pasture out there? I don't know. Something to think about.
Yeah.
Colorado State, Jay Norvell heading to Nevada, where he was extremely successful. You think Colorado State finds its first win of the season at Nevada?
No, I think they're going to be ready for Jay Norvell, and he's a big boy. He took this job. He got himself into this situation, but I bet you on the bus ride back to the airport, he's going to want to call Steve Adazio and be like, thanks for that, Steve. I really appreciate that.
I'm pretty sure he's not actually going to call Steve Adazio, but yeah, he might want to call him something else, but he's not going to call him.
No.
UNLV, San Jose State should be the best game of the night. Should be a really good football game, to be honest. UNLV is playing considerably better than they were the past couple of years. San Jose State, maybe not as great, but still a very good team.
Yeah, I think if you were to make a list of the top 10 biggest surprises so far in this season, UNLV would be high up there. So be interested to see if they can continue that on the road.
It's a 9:30 Central game. Not a lot of folks will watch that on a Friday night, but should be good, and hopefully kind of propels one of those teams a little bit further up the national. Have you been watching this team? All right, let's jump into top 25 on Saturday. I want to go top 25 first, and we'll talk about some other games. I'm looking early schedule, 11 o'clock, working my way down. And, of course, I talk Central Time because why wouldn't you talk Central Time?
God's time.
Michigan, Indiana. Michigan continues their steamrolling?
Yeah, Indiana just – as I wrote, and they were like 15-8 at one point or something. They've been really bad since then. Michigan's going to win, and it's a big noon game again. Fox just picks whoever Michigan is playing at this point, and I don't expect it to be compelling television.
I agree with you. All right, we talked about it briefly. Tennessee's coming into Tiger Stadium. We all know it got really weird at the end the last time. That was an ending to remember for us all. I think Tennessee scores points. I think LSU's defense is better than people realize. I don't think Tennessee puts up traditional Tennessee numbers in terms of offense, but I think they have enough points to beat LSU because I don't think LSU's offense is that good. I went to LSU Auburn. That first half was dismal for LSU. And boy, without a couple of Auburn miscues, that I don't know, it was a halfback pass, receiver pass, whatever that unbelievably bad decision was. The interception down near the goal line when Auburn was going in, LSU doesn't win that game. Oh, I'm picking the Vols.
So Anthony Richardson, Florida's quarterback, game by game had thrown for 168, 143, 112, and then against Tennessee threw for 453. Do we think, and they nearly won the game, do we think Jalen Daniels can do something like that against this Tennessee pass defense?
He looks down the field, but then he's fairly quick to make a move. He's not afraid to run it. He might be able to run for as many yards. I'm not sure he throws for that many. Tennessee's defense has been rather suspect, and so we'll see. I still think the Vols find enough points, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And my friends in Baton Rouge won't enjoy me saying that. That's real life. Kansas got a huge home game day. TCU coming in. TCU's undefeated. It's a huge game.
Yeah, great moment for Kansas. I'm glad game day is going to be there, and I'm glad they're going this week because I'm afraid this is when the music stops. At least on Kansas's undefeated season, their schedule. I mean, the Big 12 is as deep as it's ever been, and Kansas is a large reason why. Like, I think they're a legit good team. I don't think they're Big 12 championship material. Not that that's any sort of slight to them, but I mean, oh my gosh, TCU their offense has just been. They're right below Ohio State in terms of efficiency, explosiveness for most frightening offense in the country. I don't think Kansas has the horses to run with TCU. So I think TCU wins this game 45-35, something like that.
I'm going to pick the Jayhawks.
Okay. I'm glad you said that.
Lance has got some magic.
Okay.
All right. The Hogs going into Stark Vegas. This one could get crazy fun. I wavered on this one. Ultimately, I picked the Leeches. I don't know. I don't know that I love the pick. I think this is going to be a great football game.
I agree. It's tough for me to pick against Arkansas just because I think we all love what Sam Pittman's done. We love the team he's built. Having said that, I was looking over some stats today of just net yards per play, yards per play gain minus yards per play allowed. Arkansas was towards the bottom. Like, their defense has just been not what we expected Arkansas's defense to be. And I know they've had some injuries on that side of the ball. Like, they can get after the passer, but they've not been able to slow down the pass. Obviously, Alabama hit them for a ton of explosives last week. So it's going to be it's a reluctant pick. A shout out to the Hogs, but I think Mississippi State wins as well.
South Florida travels up to Cincinnati. Cincinnati is 4-1. South Florida is not.
Yeah, I mean, we wrote about it on the site. South Florida has been one of the worst teams in FBS for a couple of years now. So it'd be great for them to be competitive, but it'd be hard to see that actually happening.
I agree, but I don't understand why that is. But yes, I agree. I don't understand why they're not very good. South Florida, I mean, they should be loaded with talent and they should roll, but it's where we are. Auburn's headed inside the hedges. Georgia, how do we like that one?
Look out if you stay out of those third down packages, then Auburn's going to win, according to that Auburn offensive lineman. I expect this to be a get-right game for Georgia. They've been hearing about how bad they are for the past 2 weeks, playing a team that should have their attention in Auburn, have their respect, which maybe Mizzou didn't have. Mizzou obviously went out and played very well as in that game, but I think Georgia wins this game by 20 plus.
I continue to think that Auburn, if Auburn doesn't, Auburn can be extremely competitive. They got the pieces. They just need to not make stupid mistakes, and a lot of it's mental. We'll see. I think Auburn can put up some fight. I still think Georgia wins, obviously. Texas Tech, Oklahoma State. Can Tech go in there and shock them, or no way?
So their issue these past couple weeks, especially when they've gone on the road, is they've fallen behind early, and they just don't have the explosive offense this season to dig out of a hole, and especially not against Oklahoma State. So Spencer Sanders he's long been one of the best quarterbacks in the Big 12 when he doesn't turn the ball over. That's been the asterisk in his evaluation. And this week this season he hasn't been turning the ball over. Oklahoma State's a 9-point favorite. I would take Oklahoma State and lay the points if I was a betting man.
It's a strong statement from Zach. Utah goes to UCLA. UCLA, the Fighting Chip Kelly's played. They put up a lot of points last week. They're undefeated. Utah, other than that blemish to Florida early on, Utah looks like they're actually getting better. How's this one play out?
First thing that jumps out to me is you got two quarterbacks that have been in college since about 2008. So both of these guys, I expect them the high level of execution. I expect it to be a close fourth quarter game. Like this might be in terms of total drama, this might be the one game to watch this weekend because I expect it to be close in the fourth quarter. But I'm going to ride with Utah until they prove me wrong.
I'm riding Utah as well. Ohio State's going to take care of Michigan State. Anything else to say there?
No. So I have this in on the line. CJ Stroud's numbers last time he played against Michigan State, he was 32 of 35 for something like 32 of 35, 432 yards, 6 touchdowns, no interceptions, and a 56-7 win. So maybe if you're Mel Tucker, you say, guys, let's make him throw 4 incompletions this time instead of 3.
That's not very nice, Zach. Not very nice. Ole Miss Vanderbilt. In years past, the Rebels would be on a good streak. They're currently undefeated, and they'd go in, they'd stumble against Vanderbilt. Lane Kiffin's job is not to stumble this week. Is that Vandy?
I mean, yeah. Ole Miss is probably a little bit beat up after that Kentucky game. That was a slobber knocker of a game. So maybe there is some stumble potential in this one because I think it'd have to be a stumble on Ole Miss's part for Vandy to win.
Agreed. I like the Rebels. Washington, Arizona State. Arizona State's not very good. Arizona State has some issues program-wide. We need to get back to that coaching search at some point, give everybody an update on that one because I hear it's not going exceedingly great early on, trying to find some direction. But anyways, Washington going to rebound?
Yeah. Michael Penix Jr. is the best numbers of any quarterback in the Pac-12, and he should pad those numbers against the Sun Devils this weekend.
Does BC have a shot at home to shock Clemson? Clemson's not really up for this game.
Maybe. I mean, if you're picking one shocker, I mean, going on the road in conference play, you're coming off an emotional game. Clemson has Florida State next week, so let's go ahead and sound the trap game alarm for this one. On the road at night, maybe let's buy into the Scott Roussel power of belief.
I'm going trap game as well. I don't know if it happens or not, but I think there's a real potential of a mistake there, misstep by Clemson. Washington State, USC. This one has, I would say, has as much potential or more than you were talking about Utah, UCLA. This one could wind up being weird and awesome.
Yes, I think weird and awesome is two good words to describe it. It's at one point we need to go through and count how many different times a Leach disciple has played against a Leach disciple, because you have Lincoln Riley, who is a student assistant on the same team as Eric Morris, who was a wide receiver for those mid-2000s tech teams with Leach and Dana, and who knows who else was there at that time. So it's an interesting game for me on that respect. Cam Ward, I know John shares my love of the Incarnate Word transfer who came up there with Eric Morris. So yeah, I think this could get weird. Washington State fans are a little bit feisty that they're not ranked. That they went to Camp Randall and won. That win has not aged well. But they're one of those teams that a lot of people they're probably better than the average fan assumes. USC, they've been winning because they're plus 14 in turnover margin. So what happens in a game if they're minus in turnover margin? Maybe that's this Saturday.
I think that one's going to be a shootout and a great football game. Not necessarily a shootout in terms of like 35-38. I think it's going to be a really good football game, throwing the ball over the yard, uh, running it as well. It's going to be a fun game. Washington State's going to play some defense. It'll be fun. South Carolina's at Kentucky. I like Big Blue Nation to rebound here. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, if again, I'm just waiting for Spencer Rattler to play up to his potential. Like this is one of those games where if you have an A quarterback, then he should be able to elevate a C team to a B team on a day like this.
Army's at Wake. I think Wake gets Army.
Yeah, agree.
All right, Shamrock. BYU at Notre Dame, or not at Notre Dame, at Allegiant in Vegas. John Bryce will probably be eating like a big tomahawk steak on the sidelines or something like that.
Yeah. I like Notre Dame. Actually, I say that. No, I'm going to go BYU. I have not made our picks this week, but Notre Dame has rebounded since its 0-2 start, but I like the Mormons to beat the Catholics in Sin City.
I pick BYU as well. I think they find a way. All right. Big nickname here. Kansas State, Iowa State. Zach?
Farmageddon,
ladies and gentlemen. This is a big one.
You've got this is interesting because you've got the Iowa State has the best, by the numbers, the best defense in the Big 12. They have held the mighty Kansas Jayhawks to under 250, under 260 something yards like that, and 14 points. Didn't score at all in the second half. K-State, along with TCU, has the most terrifying offense right now in the Big 12. Martinez and Deuce Vaughn are just slicing people up. So if Iowa State can do what they did to the mighty Jayhawks, this could get interesting because Iowa State right now is I think 0-2 in the Big 12, and looking to them and Oklahoma are looking to avoid being 0-3.
I think many years, a lot of people would be looking for somebody to put Nick Saban in his place. I don't think that's this year. I think most of the country is hoping that Saban just rolls, Jimbo. What happens in this one?
Yeah, I've like, how can you have any sort of confidence that A&M is going to win this one? Like, Nick Saban, is Mr. Process, Mr. Forget the outside noise, but we can't forget what happened in May. Jimbo has tried to brush past it every time it's brought up. Oh, we've moved on. Don't talk about it. Don't ask me about it. But I mean, he probably didn't even have to say anything to his guys. Like the Alabama players are going to carry that motivation with them. The A&M won last year. Like I'm seeing it at 55-14, something like that, Alabama.
How short is that handshake going to be after the game?
It's going to be record-breaking shortness. I'm going to be looking out to see what sort of pregame conversation they have, if any, because sometimes those can go long. Sometimes they don't happen at all. Like I hope cameras are on them a lot, and we know CBS will be all over that.
Cameras will be all over them. I think there will be a walking towards each other and words exchanged that'll be very brief. And I think post game it will be the shortest possible. Good job, coach. Move on. Mm-hmm. Whew. And I think Alabama wins in a big way. NC State, Florida State, huge potential here. This could be a very good game as well. Couple 4-1 teams, couple coming off losses. I like NC State to get it right. I'm not so sure about that, but that's what I like.
Yeah, I mean the ACC outside of Clemson, it seems like Wake is that top team. But to me, this is the battle to see who's the third best team in the ACC right now. Like you said, both coming off losses. Like it's both teams got off to 4-0 starts, and it's like, guys, the battle to salvage the momentum to have a successful first half of the season. Like Florida State is in such a, I don't want to say precarious situation, but such an interesting situation because they've been under 500 for how many seasons in a row now. Beat LSU, start 4-0, and then now you're looking at possibly being 4-2 with Clemson coming to town the next week. So you could be going from 4-0 to 4-3. So this is a must get for them, I think.
Tough spot. All right, last top 25 matchup, Oregon, Arizona. It's like an 8 p.m. Central Time. Arizona scored some points. Arizona put a win on the board, has to be building some confidence. Oregon goes in there, takes care of business, or this one could get weird as well.
I think this is one of those, this could get weird as well. The Pac-12 is one of those conferences where anytime you go on the road in conference play, like we saw it with USC and Oregon State, like you can't just, I don't think this is a league where anytime a supposed favorite goes on the road, you can just chalk up an easy victory. Oregon was very, very fortunate to not win at Washington State. So I don't think they're at a place where you can just, check off a 35-21 type win.
I agree. I think it's going to be a good game. I kind of like the Ducks, but I'm not real confident. That says something about Arizona. Okay, so we talked about all the top 25 games. Any game involving a top 25 team. Are there any other games this week?
No, I think that's it. Let's shut it down. We've discussed everything.
Red River happens this weekend?
Mm-hmm.
I guess we missed them. Okay, neither team is in the top 25. Both teams sporting a couple of L's. There, I think both teams are 3-2. If I had to pick, which I do, I'm picking Texas to win the game. Oklahoma, disappointing last weekend. What do you think?
I think if the uniforms were flipped and everything else was the same, it'd be an easy to pick Oklahoma. But you can't ignore the mental edge that Oklahoma has had in this series. Now we'll see if that carries over. But my Oklahoma network of friends and contacts has never been more down than they've been after these last 2 weeks. So they're all expecting a blowout. I'm not. I expect Dylan Gabriel to play. I expect Quinn Ewers to play. I expect both teams to hit some uppercuts against the other's defense. Texas has been really good about limiting turnovers and limiting on offense and limiting explosive plays on defense. If they do both of those things, I expect Texas to win. If they don't, and I'm not confident, if Oklahoma is able to hit some explosives and turn Texas over a couple times, then it could be a fourth quarter game. And at that point, does Oklahoma's, history of being the stronger team mentally take over? So this is a game Texas should win, but I'm not going to be confident at all that they actually are going to go take care of business until it actually happens.
A Longhorn fan saying he's not going to be confident at all that Texas is going to take care of business. I feel like I've heard this before. Big game. Georgia Southern, Georgia State. Not a lot of love there.
No, I love that this game's happening. I love the name of it. Of course, in Georgia, you have Georgia Tech, which is clean, old-fashioned hate. And then Georgia State, Georgia Southern, you've got modern-day hate. I was surprised in looking up that Georgia State, the younger of the two programs, has the advantage here, 5-3. So great opportunity for Clay Helton to go out and move to 1-0 against Georgia Southern's new old rival.
It is a really good opportunity for Clay Helton to get to, I think, 4-2. It really begin to build some more at Georgia Southern. Georgia State, we were talking about them last week, and I think they were undefeated. I mean, they had not won a game. I said, don't count these guys out. They're fighters. They're punching up. They're going to get somebody. Got a dub. They would love to wreck Southern. This would be a huge win for Georgia State. So we'll see if they can pull it off.
I think Southern wins, but yeah, I wouldn't count State out at all.
Wisconsin, Northwestern. It's an awkward game. It's just awkward. Nobody at Wisconsin foresaw this happening. Jim Leonard, oh, goodness gracious. What? I don't know. Pat Fitzgerald's team's not very good this year. Wisconsin's in massive turmoil. Had to have been just a really rough week for those guys. This game could get weird. Northwestern just doesn't have the horses to put up 40 on Wisconsin, but this could be a type of game where Northwestern shocks them because Wisconsin's just lost it.
Yeah. Jim Leonard is obviously auditioning, on the spot for the full-time job. And, first order of business has been like, guys, we got a game on Saturday we got to prepare for. That press conference, he didn't seem too happy that Paul Chris had been let go. And obviously it seemed like none of the players were too happy. So how well was he able to move forward and get them to focus on the task at hand? That's question one, because on the surface, it looks like this is a game Wisconsin should win. So, but I don't know. I can't sit here with any sort of confidence and know what sort of mental state Wisconsin is in right now.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think it's good. Nobody foresaw this happening, including Chris McIntosh. This wasn't. It's a. I'm gonna have to give some inside scoop on that on another podcast. But there was a weird thing that happened there. A game that nobody other than football scoop folks like you and I are really jacked about or even know anything about. East Carolina Tulane has unbelievable potential to be a great football game. This one's in New Orleans. I don't know. Willie Fritz has a chance to go 5-1. East Carolina is not an easy dub at all. I don't know what else to say about it other than it's got great potential.
Yeah, you'd like to see. I mean, both teams went on the road in conference play and won last week. Willie Fritz, I feel like I've been singing his praises for a long, long time, ever since he got to Tulane. And off the top of my head, I don't know that he's ever won more than 6 or 7 games in a season, which obviously, Scott, well, the Tulane job is not always the easiest, but it'd be nice to see him, go out and get 8 or 9 wins in a season. And this would need to be one of those.
I'm looking. North Carolina, Miami. Some intrigue at Miami.
Yeah. What is Miami? What are you? North Carolina, their defense looked like one of the worst in college football for a long time. They handle business against Virginia Tech, so they should handle business against a WTF Miami team.
Miami just doesn't. They don't have enough offense to run with North Carolina, in my opinion. We'll see. There will be points scored. Western Kentucky, UTSA, like a lot of points.
Yeah. So the Conference USA Championship game last year had like 1,100 points or 1,100 yards and like 90 points, and that was a rematch of a regular season game that had 1,200 yards and about 90 points. So I'm expecting both of these teams average like literally right at 500 yards a game. Like one is UTSA is like 500.5, Western is like 499.5. So I'm going to be very disappointed if they do not hit 1,000 yards and 80 combined points.
How about Brett Bielema hosting Iowa?
Iowa's got the better defense. These are the top 2. Both of these teams are top 5 or top 4 nationally in scoring defense and yards per play defense. So the over-under is at like, I think, 36. So the only way that happens is if Illinois' offense just runs roughshod over Iowa's defense, because Iowa's offense isn't going to do that. But I'm hoping for the opposite of Western Kentucky UTSA. I'm hoping for less than 300 yards and less than 15 points.
That would be amazing. That would be great theater. All right, last game I'm going to bring up on this podcast is Oregon State's at Stanford. It's the last game of the night. I think it's like what's that? 10 p.m. Central, so 8 p.m. out west. David Shaw needs to get it together, needs to not get embarrassed. If Oregon State comes in and embarrasses you, that would be bad. Does Stanford have a shot?
I mean, Stanford right now looks like are they the worst team in the Pac? I guess you throw no, they're not. They're better than Colorado.
Had to say Colorado. Sorry.
Okay, they're the worst team in the Pac-12 North, and traditionally that's been Oregon State. And we're all big fans of Jonathan Smith. They've had nearly beat USC, tough game at Utah. So this looks like a get right game for Oregon State against Stanford, which is one of those things that as recently as like 4 years ago, no one would have ever said.
Nope, you're right. That's why they play the games. We're already into week 6. Wednesday night started off with Gus having quite a second half versus Rhett Lashley's squad. No college ball tonight. Friday night, we got 4 games. Saturday, it looks like an epic day as well as it always is. College football Saturday. Zach Barnett, thanks for your time today. Football Scoop Podcast. Tell everyone you know about it. Appreciate the growth and support, and we'll talk to everybody soon. Bye-bye.